This is Naoki Yoshida.
This is Fern Hall.
And you are listening to Aetheryte Radio.
Aetheryte Radio.
Here we go.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Aetheryte Radio, Gamerscape's Final Fantasy XIV podcast. I'm FusionX. Joining me today, we have Xenedra.
It's me.
And we have joining us today, we got Sly, first time on the show.
Hi.
Second time on the show.
And this is totally
time on the show.
This is totally the first time we've introed the show today. Little bonus if you're watching us live. So spoiler for next week, we'll have Mr. Happy on. He's out in Tokyo right now, out at Fan Fest. He'll be spending a lot of time out there this weekend, and a couple days after, sitting down with Naoki Yoshida, checking out the Aetheryte Cafe. So we'll have him on next week to talk about all that. But for this week, we've got the Tokyo keynote. Lots of stuff to go over. Lots of emotions. I think last night it was 3 pages on the official forums of unsub topics. I was like,
yeah, you didn't include Reddit on that one. Like Reddit's probably.
I didn't go to Reddit directly last night, but I did hear somebody mention that they actually locked new posts for a time.
Yeah, you know that scene in the trailer where everything's on fire with Urianger and Ishtola? That's Reddit right now.
Yeah.
They're basically saying that's Reddit, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Bryn and Aldino couldn't be here today. They had some other commitments pop up. I know it's Fan Fest weekend, but they did have other stuff pop up. It just, real life, man. It sucks sometimes. So let's dive right into it. We had our first look at the official trailer yesterday, which is really cool. A lot of comparisons popping up online of like the look at the Warrior of Light and the samurai garb as he's going up against Xenos. It's actually a lot more polished than it was when we first saw it. So they've been working on touching this up the whole time. We get to see a lot of really cool stuff. We get to see this new town that's at the base of the Crystal Tower. For a second, I was like, you know, we've had things in cinematic trailers before that haven't been 1-1. Like, maybe this is something they've been working on for a really, really, really long time, and maybe this is like more Dona. No, it's not. And we'll get
in a manner of speaking.
I mean, well, yes and no, because there's that other area too that they likened to more Dona, that the Lakeland. But we'll get into that. So, we get our first shot at Dancer, which I think a lot of us know is probably coming. It is around the Crystarium. Well, it's like, I think the Crystarium is in front of the Crystarium is their Labyrinth of the Ancients. And then it goes into the Crystal Tower. Yeah.
Anyway, I interrupt you about the most important things. Please.
Dancer.
Continue. Yeah.
Finally, I was joking with some friends. I was like, you know, I'm totally fine if the Dancer reveal is just Lise looking into the camera, still wearing the Alamegan gown, and just like breaking fourth wall and just going, "This is Dancer now." Now it's Dancer.
That really would have been good. That I would agree with that one.
That threw me off so hard with that Stormblood teaser. I was like, oh my god, there it is. And then later it's like, he's just a monk, man. I'm like,
it's just a monk,
man. So we've got that. We've got the Crystal Tower. We've got a peek inside the Crystal Tower with this masked guy that we don't know who he is. A lot of people are thinking it's Tia, but spoiler, it's not. There's no Makote ears on it. And yeah.
Are there Makote ears on Matoya's hood? No.
There's also this hooded character. This hooded character, though, right, is also in the key art for the expansion, right? Doesn't have ears there either, but like that. Come on, if it was Makote, it would have ears.
There are hats. There are Makote hats that don't have ears, and I prefer them because the little socks look stupid.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation. It could be Ardbert. It could be, some people think it's Alphino.
Yeah. I don't know who it is. I don't necessarily think it's Mr. What's his face Tia, but no. I just wanted to bring the hood point.
One thing that I do want to point out though, in this trailer, which
Harshavon.
Oh my god. He doesn't have
the chat says it's Harshavon. He's got too much of a baby face. There's no hook nose.
He doesn't have any hot chocolate in his hand.
Oh,
if he did, that'd be a dead giveaway. But I think it's interesting. You have that that hand that kind of reaches out. It's like crystallized. We've seen that before, haven't we? If you think back to our Crystal Tower storyline, Nero wasn't looking too good towards the end of that. And so he wasn't like a blue crystal-y thing. He was like purple, right? Which would represent Zodiark, which would represent darkness. They were in the realm of darkness. So if something like that were to happen to somebody in a world flooded by light, which is the opposite of the void. So whoever this person is,
that's a good point.
They've had a time. They have seen some things. So yeah. We don't know, but it's got to be somebody from the first. I think is probably
that actually convinces me that it might be Mr. Tia, like more so than anything else you've said so far.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe it's just Nero. The whole reason we're going back to the first is so we can find his little dragon
Nero.
radar.
He's got like a little baby face.
Yeah, well, we got to go.
We've heard
back.
Nero, haven't we?
What's that?
Yeah. We've heard Nero.
We have heard Nero. It's not.
Yeah, we heard Nero's voice in his fight.
But maybe the whole reason we're going back to the first is, I mean, he dropped his little sensor, at the end of the Crystal Tower storyline. He dropped it down there. Maybe he's like, that's actually really expensive. Could we go back and get that? And during that, we get sent to the first. Probably.
No.
Probably not.
I blame it on Mephilia.
I mean that's fine with me if we can do.
Through time and space, she figured out how to contact us via Link Pearl.
Yeah. She's still figuring out a way to make us do her errands. So yes, for 5.0, I kept thinking we'd go to the New World. We're not going to the New World. We're going to the first. For those,
hold your horses on that one. We still could potentially return to our shard and go to...
I mean, yes, but probably not in 5.0. That's a 6.0 or a 7.0 thing.
Yeah, like near the end, closing up shop with the first and everything. Well, do you think we would potentially do everything we need to do in the first in one expansion?
I don't know. That's a good question. I do think it's funny that everything has been leading up to the war with the Garleans, and then they're like, "Nah, JK, go somewhere else."
And they brought that up too. It's like, yeah, we're going to the first. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, what's going on?
Well, talking about finishing things up in the first, I think yes, because look at the new 8-man raid and what that's about.
Oh, don't get started.
That's true.
Right? We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Yeah. So for those that don't know the lore, right? There's reflections of our planet. We're the source. The 13th fell to darkness. That's the void.
Well, we're not the first.
We're the source. We're the source. We're going to the first. The first, we've actually met people from the first. If you think back to Heaven's Word, we ran into Arbert and the Warriors of Darkness. They're from the first. They basically came to say, hey, like, we did really good. We, like, fought everything, and we were the Warriors of Light, and we killed all the Ascians, and now our entire planet is flooded by light, and it's bad. So bad that they came over to our shard and was, like, trying to do stuff. So I'd be really curious to see what that storyline is like. But
what's really interesting to me is part of what they were doing was trying to reset stuff via us, right?
Yeah.
So is that what we're doing now? Are we the dicks?
Mikuma in the chat, we're fixing, quote, first world problems.
First world problems. Oh my god. That's a good one.
We need to use that for an episode title once we start talking about spoiler cast for 5.0. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that. So on the first, there's only one region that's still inhabitable, and that's called Norvrant, which is where we're going to be hanging out. We get to see a lot of new areas in Norvrant, and we'll get to those in just a second. But first, I do want to go over Dancer here. So Dancer, everyone's like,
face. Oh, look at my happy
everybody's face. Thinking, right? And I am too, but I'm also like I feel bad about being happy because we had Gunbreaker. We had Gunbreaker announced, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's a tank, and I think a lot of people were like, well, that means we're getting a healer.
Never assume anything.
Dancer's a range.
Plus, we keep asking them not to copy paste. Why would they give us the same stuff again?
Well, I went in figuring that Dancer was going to be a DPS. So I'm thinking, well, we're going to have to get a healer, right? So people are saying, well, it's going to be Geomancer. I'm, 80% memeing that it's going to be Arithmetician.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Chemist.
It's weird because I felt bad because we get an announcer, right? So Dancer is Dancer's ranged DPS. It uses throwing weapons. It's not anything specific. It's just broad throwing weapons. That way they can make different whatever they want for throwing weapons. If they want, shurikens or whatever, they can make whatever they want. And it's kind of like Bard. You're going to have dances or, that'll enhance party members. So it's essentially Bard, but just Dancer. So lots of bards are kind of like, oh, okay.
Not this Bard.
Meanwhile, all the machinists are like, I think I want to dance. We're going to dance in the expansion. Forget this machinist crap. So, yeah, it'll be available in Limsa Lumensa, tentative level starting at 60, just like Gunbreaker. So there we go. Dance. It's look, like, with the new jobs, there's always, when an expansion hits, I'm always like, I want to at least, like, try one. Like, go real, level it to cap, give it a good solid try. And so when they announced Gunbreaker, I was like, oh, like, I love FF8. I love the idea of gunblades. I don't tank. Like, that's, like, my one thing I don't do. Not that I haven't tried. I've tried, and like, last time I think I tried...
You have to at least do it for the glams.
Right? So, I'm like, all right, I'll give tanking an honest try. We'll see what comes up. Dancers to healer, yeah, I could probably give that a solid go, too, but now that it's ranged DPS, like, I'm all in. Like, let's do this. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm sorry you guys don't have another healer.
Yeah.
But do they really need another healer?
I think we did. I think we did. I think, like, to be honest, going this long without a new healer,
you say that. Go ahead.
It feels like every other healer is going to get stale, and it's going to get stagnant. Will we get another healer? I think we will
eventually.
Mid expansion.
Yeah. That would be crazy.
It would be crazy. It would be too little too late, in my opinion, but I think that probably...
Limited time job. It's a healer. Ha!
There's a couple other things that would be added later, but would be too little too late. And we'll get into that towards the end.
If you're using that logic, though, the last time we got a ranged DPS was the same time we got a healer. So they're the same length of time. Also, the other one...
It's fair.
Is not as fun or good. And Astro's pretty solid at this point. I, as a Bard, have been playing Bard since 1.0, but I've been maining Bard since the game started. And while I do like the job, and I'm so happy they moved it away from caster, I want something else.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of it too. Like, they're like, okay, here's Dancer, and it's ranged DPS, not melee. So that's kind of weird. And then you kind of look at, like, what it's going to do, and you're like, so it's just Bard, and without a bow, it just throws things. Like, it sounds like it's just another Bard. And so it's like, you're talking about, things getting stale and stuff. It's like they just announced a job that's already in the game. They're just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's... like, don't get me wrong. Dancer became my main in 11 after Wings of the Goddess hit. And I love Dancer. I cannot wait to try this out in 14. But it feels kind of weird. Like, it should have been a healer. Like, it's just, it feels weird.
I don't know. Somebody in the chat is saying it's like comparing a subsect to a main type of job, but I disagree. Okay. I personally think of Bard and Machinist as a little bit separate than the main DPS jobs. For the most part, they serve a different purpose. They have a different sort of set of goals to them.
Well, and we'll also be getting a bunch of job reworks. We know Machinist is going to change a lot.
Hopefully
with the expansion.
We don't know what we're gonna get from Dancer. I mean, they did hint that it would be the same as Bard.
Look, based on the 3 bullet points they gave us, it sounds exactly like Bard.
Exactly. But it's like, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll play more like Ninja. Who knows? At range.
Sly's not a fan of that idea. It's throwing weapons.
Well, some people consider Ninja more of a Bard Machinist type. I don't personally, but
for Trick.
Exactly, but maybe it'll have some more things that are like that versus direct party enhancements. They said direct party enhancements pretty much, but
they did. Yeah,
we'll see.
All right.
I'm excited to see right now.
I am. I think once we get that live letter in May that has all the job information. I'm really curious to see what they do with everything. I think they know like that they can't have the jobs be too similar, but it's like it's a mix of like, yes, it's ranged
Other
DPS.
jobs have suffered from that though.
Yeah,
it's there.
Yeah,
unfortunately the negative precedent is there.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do with
definitely sitting in a chat of my friends as we all see the dancer for the first time, and everybody's like waiting, oh, what's it gonna be? And all the healers are like, yeah, and then it starts to do the animations, and we're like, those don't look like healing. And then I start to go, oh my gosh, and then they're like, blah 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 melee, and I'm like, oh, but it's not. And I'm like, yes, it's like roller freaking coaster here. So That was a good time for me.
That pretty much defines the entire keynote, like our roller coaster.
You just take a room of 5 people, right? You'll have like 3 of them when an announcement will be like, okay, one person, yes, and then the other one gets up and you just hear them like smashing stuff in the background and swearing.
That's a pretty good summary.
Yeah. So for Dancer, we have the healers they're a little upset.
Oh, definitely. I was like, yeah. Oh God, I'm sorry, guys.
That's how I feel. Anytime I think about how happy I am, it immediately goes to my bad. Like I feel bad for enjoying it. I'm like, sorry.
I'm just looking at everybody. Asking them, you mad or nah? Because I'm good. You mad or nah?
And you know, and I think something that a lot of us too kind of jump to as well is that thought of the queue, right? If they don't introduce a new healer, but
the queue will be fine.
Trust system. Even if the queue is not fine, you can solo all the dungeons. So who cares? Like, you know, that's something like every time I think about the queue, I'm like, oh yeah, trust. So
okay, with these 2 jobs, with Gunbreaker and with Dancer, how long do you think it'll take for everybody to say that this job is crap, it needs to be fixed? Because we go through the cycle every expansion.
About 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
Well, before they even start playing it, mid quest, like, oh, this quest is bad.
And I think it too. In all fairness, when the expansion hits, like, I mean, Dragoon was terrible at 4.0. It was rough, and so I think to really give them a chance, you need to give them a couple of updates to kind of get into the groove, see what players are doing with things, see how the raid groups are reacting, and let them make adjustments. And then you can give your final, like, this is garbage, or this is, you know.
Well,
I think early access is that time.
Yeah.
Early access is that time to, gauge everybody's thoughts, and we'll have a week.
This is their beta.
Yeah, so they'll, like, anything that we see wrong with the game, they'll know. They'll hear about it, whether it be on the forums, Reddit, Twitter. They'll hear about it. They'll know. So will it get fixed right directly upon release, like right after early access? Probably not.
No.
Probably take them maybe a couple weeks. But yeah,
and they might even know ahead of time, even before that, depending on how crazy people go with releasing job help text from media tours and stuff.
Oh yeah.
All those unfinalized numbers that people don't realize are unfinalized. That was fun last time. All right, so we'll move on here. We got to look at one of our new areas.
I do have one more thing to add.
Okay.
Sorry. We were talking about the queue. Yes, there's no healer this time, but the previous time it was all DPS, right? So the people concerned about the queue, that was all wompity crippity crappity. So this time we have a tank. Perhaps next time we have a healer, and they're hoping that in that way they'll be able to support people freaking out over the queue.
Could be.
Sometime.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You're like, I don't give a crap.
What?
Sorry, one more thing to consider.
That's fine.
This is just like an early, like, this is like a wake up early morning thing. This is like the first thought I had when I woke up. What if they can't reveal the healer because of something in 4.56? Very much of a stretch, but
you know, and to go along with that, it felt weird after getting that Dancer announcement, because everybody's like, okay, so then where's the Geomancer healer? Like, everybody, you know, like I had my Twitter open, right? I had like the JP column, I had the NA, like I had everybody just like, Geo's gonna be at the end of this now. And so everybody comes out, they start introing everybody, and it's like, no, it's after this, it's coming. And then you have the English stream, right? After everybody walks off stage, Matt and Koji are talking, and it felt like they were stalling a little bit. I think it turns out they were just trying to match the length of like Yoshida up on stage talking about like the event and stuff. But it felt like they were stalling, and I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then you just have like the slide, like, you know, we're done. And I'm like,
bye.
Ooh, never mind.
Yeah, I had that same exact thought.
And when you think about it too, I mean, one of the things a lot of people were talking about this past week is what's going to be in the trailer, because we don't have that final patch yet. We don't have part 2. And there's a good chance that this trailer might have something in there that kind of happens. And, you know.
You guys are so optimistic. It's adorable.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen at this point. But yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird that they would just do a ranged DPS. I mean, I get it, right? Like from a job perspective, there's not a lot of ranged DPS. Now there's 3, just like there's 3 of like everything else. So, you know,
yeah, we have to be optimistic. Yeah.
If we were negative all the time, we wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly.
We would be on the official forums posting threads about how we're gonna unsub.
Y'all got all these spices, and yet y'all choose to be salty. What the hell?
And I was yelling at Mary on Twitter yesterday for being so nice. Like, everybody's got different opinions, and it's fine, and you can support them, or, you know, like, it's like, why you gotta be so nice all the time?
Dude.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it is.
So
it really
cute.
is. It really
Cute.
is. I gave him crap, too, because the next thing we're going to talk about here, the Crystarium. So let's switch that over to our images here. So they show the first like still of this, and we had a kind of a go through of one of the buildings in the trailer, and I looked at it, I'm like, this still seems kind of familiar, like it kind of reminds me of something. And then they do the video where they show off the Crystarium. I lost it. So for those that don't know, and I posted this up on my Twitter, this is...
It seems like there are very few people who don't know. Like everybody.
By now, I think everybody knows. So years and years and years ago, before 1.0, there was an old tech demo for what was going to be Square Enix's next MMO, and it took place in this city. Which is kind of funny because you look at that and you think back to that time, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, like that's what Limsa turned into, or like that's what Limsa was in the conceptual stage. And then because it's kind of over water and, you know, like platform looking in the tech demo, and so like, yeah, that turned into Limsa or whatever. But then you also have another city here on the first that's actually derived from Limsa, so I thought that was funny. But yeah, I love the look of the Crystarium. I cannot wait to go in
parallel.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know you.
Yeah, in parallel, like I feel like Square is using a lot of older assets. If you remember when we first saw male and female Omega, that was the box art of the original collector's edition. Well, the male was.
It looks similar, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they're tapping into old hidden assets as of recent.
I think they're bringing stuff back that went unused. Yeah. I mean, I think in regards to that, it looks similar. I don't know, like, because the collector's edition, the 1.0 collector's edition, that's depicting like the story of Garuda, because that's Garuda on the box art. And we never really, I don't think I'd have to check with Moose for this, but I don't think we actually have like a solid like this is what the story behind this picture. I don't know for sure. But yeah, it absolutely looks similar. Whether or not it's intended to be, maybe. I mean, one of the things that, you know, when we talked to Koji at Fan Fest, and, you know, he couldn't tell us a lot about the expansion, but he did mention that with Shadowbringers, they're hoping to kind of wrap up a lot of these things that have been lingering for a while. And so maybe with Omega, they're like, we never, like, that's kind of a cool picture. Like, let's take that and we'll throw it in there. Could be. Could very well be. But yeah, this Crystarium looks so cool. In some of these pictures too, it's a very like resource sufficient like hub at the base of the Crystal Tower, and I'm curious. There are some areas that look like they're for raising livestock. There's some little garden-y plots. I wonder if this is where we're going to be doing that player farming that they hinted at a while ago. This might be a good place to do that. You know, you're helping to, you know, make sure that the people don't die that live in the Crystarium.
You go fight the beasts. You fix the world. You garden.
You put some fresh mud on those pigs. You pick some carrots, and then you, if you could go and oh wait, no, you can't fit into the house. You dwarf over there, if you could go down and get some.
Wait, no, I can fantasia. Give me 1 second.
I can crawl. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
It's fine.
I'm like, are we gonna get a crouch? Can we get one of those? Come on.
Somebody needs to take one of those scenes from Lord of the Rings where Gandalf keeps hitting his head on shit in Bilbo's house and just replace that with like a Rogadin's face or something like.
Excellent.
Oh, so yeah, so the Crystarium is at the base of the Crystal Tower. They are saying that there was no Crystal Tower when Hydaelyn split, which is important because a lot of people are like, well, maybe the Crystal Tower has been there this whole time, and that's why maybe every shard has the Crystal Tower. That's not the case. But it's also important to note that the outside of the Crystal Tower is a little bit...
Could be the case, but they're hinting that it's not.
Well, they said word for word that it was not there.
Yeah, but...
At the split. So they could be messing with us. Koji likes to do that. But the designs on the outside too are a little different. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but I think what they did is probably they took the model and then they just tweaked a couple things here and there. Like if you look at our Crystal Tower, we have that kind of runway up to it, right? And it's not even up to the actual tower; it's up to a platform that teleports us into the labyrinth. And there's that crooked door entryway. That door is almost exactly the same as the one at the base of the tower in the Crystarium. The glyphs on it are just a little bit different, but it's the same design. But that's right smack dab up against the tower. There's not like a mile's worth of terrain in between the door and the tower. So obviously on the first, they didn't have this giant earthquake. The tower wasn't buried underground for a couple millennia, you know, like, so I'll be really curious to see what the story is behind all of that stuff. Let's see. We also had Yulemore was announced. So this is an interesting area. So this is kind of derived from Limsa, like we mentioned real quick a couple minutes ago. So you have not a fan?
What did they do to my beautiful city?
So it's an interesting concept. So you have the Crystarium, which is like just like your normal kind of run-of-the-mill town. Yes, the world is flooded by light, but they're there. They're just kicking it. Meanwhile, you have Yulemore, which is populated by like very I'm trying to think of a nice word.
Literal fat cats.
Literal.
Dick.
I mean, literal fat cats. Yeah, that's a good one.
Dick.
And they know the end of the world is coming, so they're just living at large.
They're
Have a
just
party.
partying it up.
Yep. Every day is like those parties that like in the Great Gatsby movie. That's that every day, but in this weird like twisted, banner covered version of Limsa. And then at the bottom, you basically have like this shanty town of people that are like, "We want to come up and party."
The hood. The straight up ghetto.
Yeah.
And the really messed up thing about it, like because when I was in college, I learned about city structure and city development. It's separated by a door. Like, you know how you kind of like get, lower class, middle class, upper class, downtown area. That's usual city structure with some variances. It's just a door.
Yeah.
Knock it down.
It's like they could, it's like saying, it's like, instead of being on the other side of the tracks, there's no train there. It's the other side of the door. It's just this giant door, and you go up and everybody's just hanging out, and they have like rose petals on the floor around the Aetheryte.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so you'll be up there doing quests.
I saw this art, this city, and I said, "What is this trash heap?" into the chat I was with, and they're like, "Oh, that's the slums around Limsa." I'm like, "No, I'm talking about the top part." What did they do to my city?
So you're are you leaning more towards the hood? Are you leaning more towards the wire downstairs?
Yeah. Well, how can I get a house down there?
You just grab a couple planks of board and build it.
Wire.
Yeah,
Scrap
I stole
that.
that from a friend of mine. He goes, "Oh man, maybe housing." Can I get a house in here?
My tweet about Yulmore was, so in 5.0 they're gonna let us fix up Ishgard, and then we're gonna go to the first, and there's gonna be another Ishgard, except it's just fat cats. You know, you have your foundation, you have your broom, like it's Limson Fat Cat Ishgard.
Yeah, the broom, like in comparison, the broom seems like, man, that seems like a country club living in comparison.
Stone structures, holy crap!
Jeez.
The people living at the bottom of Yulmore wish they had bricks. Oh, but yeah, it's wild too, because I mean, they show us obviously we have that first shot of the fat cats in the trailer, and that's kind of they show a little snippet of just the structure of Yulmore, and then they're like, all right, we have like video, and you start at the bottom and you're going through and you're like, this doesn't look too good. This is not what they showed in the trailer. So I'll be really curious to see. I have a feeling like the quests that you do in Yulmore are either going to be amazing because they'll be just like parodied heavily on things, or they're just going to be like running errands for rich pompous assholes, and it's going to be like the worst quest line since like the Mughals.
They wouldn't do that to us. We're the warriors of darkness. The way that you give us and just wanted to say,
so
nah,
you're
do it yourself.
You're saying the fat cats are the new Mughals.
I mean, maybe they'll play hide and seek. It's like, come find us, and they'll just like run off, and there's not much to do there. They just eat grapes and play hide and seek.
It was so trippy just seeing that part of the trailer. I'm like, is this real?
Like, what is that? That's
what? There's actually a bit in the first lore book that says that people in Hydaelyn overall, well, maybe not Hydaelyn, but in the source overall, don't get overweight because of a balance of Aether, which is a weird thing, right? And maybe that's one of the cases of this is some bullcrap that a scholar wrote. But we look at the first, and there's all these fat cats. Does light make people fat?
I mean,
an abundance. Yeah. They have a lot of light, so
it's like a weird Aether thing.
I think as we get closer to the expansion and once we start getting into it, I think there's going to be a lot of just little things that we're going to pick up on, from things that we've heard before or read before, and it's going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I can, like the hand thing, like with Nero and the crystal, like that's the opposite of that. Like, okay, we still don't know who this guy is, but we know probably kind of what happened. So, and then we also have after Yulmore, we have another area. This one is Lakeland, so this is adjacent to the Crystarium, and this is the one that they kind of liken to being like kind of like Mortona. We see some kind of structures and stuff in here. The color palette is so weird, and it's I went back and I was looking at a lot of stuff with the Crystal Tower and the Warriors of Darkness, and Albert makes this comment of because the flood of light, there's like the color is gone. That's a lot of color.
I mean, it's a lot of one color.
It's a very
There's green in that
kind of
one.
narrow. It's like an Easter palette of color, right? it is. Yes. I mean,
yes.
And so it's
kind of lavender and green.
Lavender and green, and that's it. So yeah, it's interesting to see that. And so they also gave us our first look at a couple dungeons as well. Let me pull those up. So we have one that's kind of like these ruins. I think they likened it to like Temple of Karn.
Because of the bees.
Right. And then they showed us a super crazy like green thing. I don't know what the hell that is.
This is Lisa Frankland.
It's like Yoshida gathered up everybody and he's like, hey, so like for Shadowbringers, you know how like the second part, like the second word in the series is fantasy? Let's just like really just push that up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
all the color on the world's
associated. I think that's probably associated with Ilming.
And the fairies and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely something on the first for sure. And
that's
then
that's actually just Titania's arena. It's round in the middle.
I mean,
yeah, maybe.
They did talk about like what's that in the middle. I mean, it could be, but they also like this was shown with the dungeons, so
You're right. You're right.
Maybe Oberon. Maybe I'm still hoping.
There you go.
It could still be an arena there. That's like the last thing you get to.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. You know, it would be the first time we've like fought a primal at the end of a dungeon. So, yeah, some definitely some interesting. There's also this village that's on fire. Some people have commented like maybe that's like the village.
So calmly.
It's on fire. It's fine.
Fire.
You're outside. There's plenty of room to walk around the fire. Like you're good.
Yeah.
I didn't think they put Reddit in village in dungeon form.
A lot of people.
Hey, that's a bird.
A lot of people looked at that and they're thinking they're getting some vibes from like Village of Mist in FF4 that burned down. So who knows? We'll see what happens with that. So that looks really cool.
To me, it kind of looks like Ishgardish buildings, and kind of like the ones out in the Dravanian Forelands, like the Chocobo village.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and
it could also be
there's definitely going to be a lot of, I think, inspiration from other areas that are on the source for these areas in the first. Hopefully they don't borrow too much, because you don't want to give off this vibe that it's like, yeah, so like we really couldn't come up with a lot of stuff, so we're just like, let's make an expansion where we can just reuse half of our assets.
Paste.
Right? And I don't want to say that that's what they're doing. I want to make that abundantly. I don't want to like call them out for that, but I think this is an expansion from what we know so far. That, I mean, that could be kind of what they're doing. But I mean, we also know we have, we still have the Ratika Greatwood. We still have Arang. Those are areas I think they're probably on the source, that are a little different than what we've seen before as well. So yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know. There will be a lot of similarities, but I think there will be enough different that there might be little snippets of things here and there. Like the Crystal Tower in the Crystarium, you're like, hey, we kind of have that door. It's a little different, but we have that door. Like, things like that.
And we can appreciate the fact that they tweaked the door. They could have just plopped the same friggin' door in.
And I'm really curious to see like the reasoning behind that, because we'll get something about it, because in the one in the trailer, if you look at it, the door, ours on the source, right? First off, it's crooked and it's like in ruins, so it's definitely not as nicely kept up as the one in the Crystarium. But it just has some like kind of like standard generic glyphs. But on the one in the Crystarium, on the first, it's actually got like these kind of like glyphs of like what looks to be like a king and a queen, where those things are. So like, what's the story there? Like, so obviously things were a little different over there.
We're gonna have two versions of the lore book this time. One is
source
and one is first.
As soon as they announced that we were going to the first, I was like, so Koji, when's that Encyclopedia Eorzea the First coming out? I mean, that's a whole and everything. That's like a whole other thing. Like, man. And we haven't even gone to the New World yet. We still have parts of that was my thing. Like, I'm like, we still have parts of our planet that we haven't gone to, and you want to go to like a whole different planet?
We're only at the midpoint, though. Remember, Yoshi P's like, we got at least 5 more years, guys. That's like 3 more expansions.
Yeah. We also got another look at, I should say our first look, kind of, when they talked about some of the new beast tribes that we would see in Shadowbringers. One of those, they talked about pixies. They also talked about dwarves, and everybody's like, "Oh, cool! Like dwarves. Like we'll have the little, like the smithies and everything like that." These dwarves are actually just what they call Lalafell on the first. And
I thought that was a joke. He's like, "What does it look like, guys?" And people were like, "Ha ha ha, Lalafell!" And then they take the helmet off, and we're like, "Oh."
It's like that's funny that you had the foresight to know we would say Lalafell.
Yeah.
And so this is weird. I don't know what to make. So the dwarves, right? They have their little like dwarf village, and everything is to scale. So, unless you're a Lalafell, you can't like go inside their buildings.
So who's using that Fantasia?
I don't know how I feel about this, because like if you think right, like one of the things that players have been talking about, right, is the lack of like buildings that you can go inside. You know, like we got Alamigo, right, which is just like a part of the locks, and there's no buildings or anything. It's just like streets with, you know, doors you can't go in and all this stuff. And so they're like, all right, for Shadowbringers, we got this whole like dwarf village, but you can only go inside if you're a Lalafell. It's like, come on, like you almost had it, you almost figured it out. There's probably not going to be that many buildings to go in. Okay.
No, it says they're never without their helmets and their beards. Maybe that's because they didn't evolve the same way that the Dunes folk did to get that film over their eyes so they can hang around in the dust and the sand.
I mean,
for their environment.
That very well could be the case. Yeah.
Random thought.
Yeah, no, it's you know, we know that they've evolved a little differently than we have on the source. And so they also gave us basically naming conventions for the first, which is kind of weird. So on the first, the Hyur are Humes, Mikote are Mistels, Elizin are Elves, Rogadin are Galdgent, Aura are Drawn, which is dragon in Dragon Speak on the source, as Anonymous pointed out on Twitter.
Oh.
Lalafells are dwarves. Viera are V's. V's? Probably V's, because there's two eyes. And Hrothgar, which we'll get to. Are Ronso.
Oh, look how happy you are.
Wow.
I called this so long ago. I'm like, yeah, what if we get a Ronso race in 14? Nah, that's not gonna happen. They're not gonna do that. And then they show a Kamari flash.
Yeah.
I'm just
So that's something we'll get to, and so yeah, it's, you know, they announced this list of the race names. I was like, you know, just go full fan service, name them the same ones in 11, and that way at least we won't forget them. Like, I'm not gonna remember like Mistel or Galdgent.
Really? Like, I'm never gonna forget Mistel, because it's what you do when you screw up.
Remember,
right? You send the wrong message, it's a Mistel.
That whole Yulmore is just full of Mistels.
Don't facepalm at me.
Yulmore was a mistake. The whole thing.
God, you're just as worse as happy.
Well, you know, we knew he's not here for you this week, Slice, so we wanted to be able to make sure we helped you fulfill your face palming quote.
Thank you.
I got you.
One of the other things that they showed us too were the monsters that we'll be seeing here on the first, and these are the Sin Eaters, which are like super creepy.
And like, everybody hold your horses in. Like when we were watching this, we were like, Sin? Like, hold your horses. It's not that Sin.
Yeah, just hold on.
I would want it to be. I would love that.
Ronso, Sin, like even Koji on the stream after they did the Ronso naming convention, he's like, Blitzball confirmed. It's like Yoshida's gonna go back and like listen to this English stream and he'd be like, why would you do that? Why would you say that? But yeah, these guys are super weird and creepy. And the way they explained them is they're essentially the opposite of Void Scent. So on the 13th, that shard fell to darkness. It became what we know as the Void, and the Void Scent were from there. So now that we're on the first, a world flooded by light, we have Sin Eaters, which are the light opposite of Void Scent. And we also have this man with these just luscious locks here.
It's Griffith.
He's like he's from one of those old like.
What is their deal with Beyonce hair? We've seen it for the Vieira reveal in the artwork, and now they're going really hard with the Beyonce hair. And
I just hope that like they at some point. So this person is called Innocence. I just whenever they show up, I just want them to just like do the hair thing, right? Just so we don't know too much about it, other than it's going to be a big part of the storyline on the first, and there will be a trial for it, which is something that we pulled off of the Shadowbringer special site. They didn't actually tell us a lot about it during the keynote, but on the site it has it listed as a trial.
I have a feeling it's going to be the Thornton/Shinryu.
Yep.
It could be.
That's what I was thinking.
It could be.
Yeah.
My thought, and I mean this does kind of play into that idea, is Innocence is the light version of the Cloud of Darkness. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Is it a man? Is it a woman? I don't know.
I'm getting heavy. I'm getting, and a few people brought this up to me. I'm getting a few Judeo-Christian vibes from.
Only a few?
Yeah, a few. A little bit. So, yeah, it kind of reminds me of the whole, order chaos thing with SMT. And with regards to Eden, which we'll probably talk about in a few, Eden being, the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Lilith, maybe. I don't know where to take the Garden of Eden. Oh, God. I'm sorry, I'm moving forward, but like it confuses the hell out of me when they're going, full light, innocence, good, greater good. I want to say angels, but no, this isn't SMT.
So can I just point out, to me, Innocence looks very much like Griffith from Berserk. And what are we this time? Warriors of Darkness.
Wow.
Big sword.
That is a reach, but I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we just plugged it in. We'll let me bring that up real quick. So they announced the 8-man raid is going to be Eden. And it's funny to me, like this shot that they show, right? It's just like this little like twig kind of blooming in this like grayed out area. And so
the 8-man raid is we fight all of the new Sprout players. That was a Sprout.
There you go. Or it's, so our guest creator here, and we have an illustration of the character Gaia. Our guest creator for the 8-man, they haven't done that before, is Tetsuya Nomura. So it's entirely possible that E12S is just a giant pile of belts that has become self-aware. Yeah, it's
across the internet. People were going, "Oh, so we're never getting the 8-man. Oh, that's why we didn't get it last time."
I mean, yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of people that were thinking, okay, Shadowbringers, we're going to Garlemald, and so. Like we never, they stopped at Kefka in Omega, so like totally it's an FF7 based 8-man raid, and I was like, it's one of those things too where I'm like, no, like I don't want that. That'd be horrible. I would not say no to an FF8 themed 8-man raid, however. And they showed this picture, and I was like, oh my god, because it looks like that end shot, right? You have that the whole field of flowers and stuff that blooms up, and it's like. That imagery, and they call it Eden. Well, Eden's a GF in FF8, so it's like,
I'm like, oh, Fusion's happy right now watching this crap.
It's true. I mean, I shut it down, right? Because I'm like, obviously, like, maybe could it be? Maybe not. let's lower that a little bit. Let's calm down.
And this goes to the whole information thing about the Fan Fest keynotes and pretty much all the information we've gotten this year. In the past, the 8-man raid has always been pretty blatant as far as what it is. The Binding Quill of Bahamut, Alexander, Omega. What? Like they left it pretty broad, and it goes against all convention to me. So I want to see.
I think the subtitle for Eden could just be First World Problems.
Yeah.
I want to say it may be Yggdrasil. Thinking maybe. Of a sprout growing into.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. So what they actually told us, so
and then at the end we eat an apple, and that's how we restore darkness to the world.
Because apples are inherently dark and evil.
Like in the Garden of Eden. Shit. Look at your face. It went, oh.
I mean...
We need a serpent.
Yeah.
What were we saying about those vibes we were getting?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.
Your face just now was so great. You're like, that's really dumb. Wait.
Yeah. That's a solid point. The actual story they gave us for Eden. So right now in the first, if you think about all the different elements, you have your earth, wind, fire, water, ice, whatever. The first is just light. That's it. Everything's light. There's no dark day-night cycle. There's no darkness. It's just light all the time. And so Eden is going to be you basically restoring those other elements to the first. So I'm curious if after beating Eden, after completing Eden, if your character then gets a day-night cycle. I don't know if that's something that they can easily like swap out, right? Like, okay, you've done this part of the story, so this NPC is over here and says something different. Oh, you've beaten Eden. You have nighttime now.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but we won't see it until
it'll be a while. It'll be a while.
2.5 years from now.
Unless darkness is the first thing that we restore, right? After we beat the main scenario. We have day-night cycles. But no winter, summer, spring, autumn. We got to work on that. Yeah. Everything's still out of whack.
I don't know. I'm happy to see, and this is something a lot of people have been complaining about for the past several years, that the 8-man raid is going to be more directly related to the main story.
Mm.
So theoretically,
and I want to say, like, so Binding Coil, right? Bahamut was so essential to 2.0. And they really weaved all that in with the 1.0 story, and they really brought that together. And then you have Alexander, which was just there. It's like, so
yeah.
you beat Heavensward, and like, so there's like this big thing over here. He's like gonna suck up all the Aether and stuff, but if it's not a big deal. If you have time, like, it'll be fine. Just if you got a few, and can check that out for us, that'd be great. And then you have Omega.
Really all you need to do is beat up some goblins and talk to it.
There's some time travel involved. Not just if you have a few minutes, just if you could go over there, that would be great. And then you have Omega at the end of Heavensward, and that was nice to see that, even though it really, as a whole, didn't do much at the end. With the kind of effect it had overall, they still at least introduced it through the MSQ, made it seem like it was at least somewhat relevant to something. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Introduced a super cute character and gave him a lifelong friend that goes on adventures.
I mean, look, yes, and
that's what happened.
Yeah, I bought that plush, so it's so cute. Like that cutscene at the end, they're just walking around, and it's great. It really is. Anyway, so yeah, it's Eden. I think it's gonna play a big part into the main scenario. I don't think we're gonna get any kind of a look at that before the expansion. I think that's going to be something that is gradually brought up during our time on the first. And then after we do MSQ, it'll be like, okay, we've figured this out. We've fixed this problem. Let's go finish it up and get the elements back. And so while it may not be introduced as some like huge thing, I think it'll still be important. Versus Alexander, where it's just kind of like, yeah, there's a thing over here. There's just this giant. If you could just 5 minutes, if you could just head over there and talk to Sid, versus like, hey, so you fixed the darkness. We appreciate that. We didn't have nearly enough candles and light bulbs ready for that, but thank you. We have nighttime now. If we could get seasons back, that would be great. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with that. Because it's, and again, it's so vague, like way more vague than any of the other raids have been when they announced them. Like even the Your Hot 24 Man thing, like, oh, it's a near raid, okay. And then you have, Which I know Sly is like, I'm not crazy about the idea of that either. Like, but with Eden, it's just like, yeah, so like here's like a twig in the ground and like a bad concept art from Nomura. And that's it. That's the raid. Make interpret it how you will. Like there's nothing to go on.
They said her name was Gaia?
Gaia. Like Earth.
Yeah.
Earth. Maybe there's a character for each element, and you get all of them together, and you summon, and at the end, E12S, you fight Captain Planet.
Oh my god. The last element we have to fulfill is heart, you guys. It's also the 5th element now.
Bruce Willis just shows up.
Yes, please.
we have guest creators. Why don't we have like guest appearances in our raids? I
mean, we do. They're just from other Final Fantasies, and also from Nier.
just bring in a character voiced by Bruce Willis. It looks like Bruce Willis. Like just
Bruce Willis.
It's Bruce Willis.
All I'm saying, you brought Keita Amemiya onto the team. He's done work for SMT.
He's like, where's my crossover?
That's all I'm saying. Give me some demons. You gave me Lucifuge. I'll take one. Give me more, please.
And it's interesting too.
Give it 2 years.
With Stormblood, right? They had the guest creators. That was the first time they did it, but it was all people on the outside. Like obviously they had worked with Matsuno before, like, right? He used to be at SE doing tactics and stuff. He's doing his own thing now. Amemiya does like Garo and stuff like that. Like, but with Shadowbringers, it's all people that are already in-house, which is interesting. I'm curious what the reasoning for that is. If it was too hard to go between offices, or if it's just, a lot cheaper to have it all in-house. They don't have to make up contracts for outside people doing stuff now, or so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. All right. Here's this is the big one, last but not least. So in Paris they announced Vera. They showed us a short video of Vera. It was only female Vera, which led people to have questions, understandably. We know male Vera exist in Eorzea. They're just not endangered species. They're just not out there as much. And honestly, we've had this before with the male Mikote and the female Rogadin. They're there. We just don't see them a lot because reasons.
But then we did.
And then we did. Because they decided, you know what, with 2.0, that's a thing. We should change that. And now with 5.0, they're like, what can we do that would kind of take all this work we've done and take a step backwards? And so now we have the male-only Hrothgar. I can't. These things are
all forms of Lino were reserved last night.
Right.
And the cats are loose.
These things are just, to me, they're ugly. I'm not a fan of these at all. I'm not. Like, yes, you can, we mentioned, like, you can make them look like Kimari, right? Their name on the first is their Ronso. I'm not a fan. I think a lot of it for me, just to give like a full reasoning, right, for me. So I've been reading, there's been a fan translation of those Famitsu articles that Yoshida used to write, those columns. And so I'm going through the second batch of them right now. And so I just read something from, and I can't remember the date on it, but where he's talking about how the graphics engine is dated, and they put things in there to kind of like maybe trick you or trick the eye or whatever, to make it look like it's a little better than it actually is. This first shot, this trailer that we have for the Hrothgar, is the worst looking thing. Like, it's like, hey, look how outdated our graphics engine is, because it's really pixelated and it doesn't look that great, but then you have like this really nice lighting effect behind it. And that to
Although,
me,
as you pointed out earlier, they've been tweaking and making things better the whole time. Even during the stream itself, Soken was like, "Oh, look, we improved some of the sound, or this thing is rough still."
That's absolutely true. And I mean, even the music's not finalized in the trailer. And yeah, they've been polishing that CGI throughout this whole time. But I just textures in the game are not usually amazing. They're usually decent, but if you zoom in, they're not great. And that's what this was. Throw the gender lock stuff on top of it. Look, if you listen to the show, I know we got a lot of new people on here today. This is something I've been dreading for a long time because of all the leaks and the rumors and stuff that have been going on. I'm like, this would be such a step backwards if they did gender locking races. After Viera was announced, they're like, hey, Yoshida, where's the male Viera? And he's like, oh, we still have Tokyo Fan Fest. So right there, he sets out two paths. It's either he's teasing male Viera, which seems kind of dumb since they already announced the race. Why not just show the males now? Yes, we haven't had males before, but is it really that big of a deal? So it's either set up for an overhyped announcement, or they come out and announce a second race, and then if that's gender locked, and that's exactly what's happened. If you go on the official forums, it's just pages about how people are going to unsub because of gender locked races. I heard, Reddit had to stop allowing posts for a little bit last night because people are very upset about this. And I'm wondering if they knew it would be this big of a deal.
Meanwhile, Sly and I are like, eh.
Yeah, no, and I know, you guys, Sly's excited for him. I know you probably are kind of indifferent to it, right?
Well, I'm not really too excited. Don't get it twisted. I'm not excited for it. I'm there are Ronso in the game.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. I agree with the sentiments of everyone who goes against gender locking. However, there is a however.
But
ready.
But and people are going to think this is complete bull. But if there is lore to back it up, I feel like I can accept it. Most people can't. Well, originally there weren't a ton of male Makotes, but we see them everywhere now.
That bothers me. It doesn't really bother me because I have more important things to worry about. But lore-wise, it's like, guys, come on. There's so many of you, and there's supposed to be 12.
On that point in particular, there was a really nice tweet that went out last night. They make the lore.
Yeah.
If that was something that they wanted to do, it's not like Square Enix is like, well, we can't have them because in the lore. Well, then change the lore. Don't set it off where it's like, yeah, there's not a lot of them around. If you want them, you have direct control over that.
But they're already working on the next Encyclopedia Eortia. I can't rewrite.
It's already printed.
It's already printed. God.
Now, for me, I am the embodiment of that shrug, Asimote thing.
You're like our Aldino for this episode. You're just kind of like, whatever. Yeah.
And I almost feel like it's not fair to put that opinion out there because I had no stake in this. I didn't want to be a Viera. I'm happy with my character the way it is. I didn't want to be a boy Viera, and I don't want to be a Ronso now. So it's those things aren't important to me. I could see where if you were super excited about being a male Viera when you saw a female Viera, you are so disappointed, and I'm super sorry.
Yeah.
But don't you like your character now too?
Has not used a single Fantasia since the day he started.
High five me through the internet.
I used only the free Fantasias. I was a Makote for maybe a month or two in Heavensward, and then I just changed back to here. But yeah, it's interesting. It seems weird, and the phrasing I'll use may not be right. But so in 1.0, right, we didn't have female Rogadin, we didn't have male Makote. And so this was, kind of a thing that they brought over from Final Fantasy XI, where you had your Galka, which was a male-only race, and then you had your Mithra, which were female, but there were males that existed. We saw one in our storyline for Wings of the Goddess. They just weren't around a
He
lot.
sucks. He sucks. Also, he looks like the fat Makote in the foreground in the city.
Gee, it's the hair. It's right. It's the hair that does it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I see where you're going with that. So in 1.0, they basically just kind of copied all that over. They gave them different names, but right, it's that same setup. And so then in 2.0, they're like, hey, we should. I don't want to say like fix is necessarily the right word here, but like we should fix that. We should have female Rogan and we should have male Makote. Like, there's no reason we shouldn't. And now they're taking a step backwards and doing like the opposite, and that just, it feels not like a great decision.
Fusion wants consistency.
It feels wrong, and like, don't be afraid to say it. It does feel wrong in terms of a gameplay aspect. You should have, counterpart to a male being female, counterpart being to a female being male. It makes no sense when you have all these customization options, and like you kind of get locked out of it at this point in the game. Yeah, it does feel wrong.
For me, like, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, although, like, I'm not salty at it.
Mm-hmm.
I get where a lot of people are coming from. I kind of feel a little bit crappy if they walk it back. Like, if you are this justified in your lore that you lock genders for the new races, when you walk it back, it seems that you kind of gave in.
Yeah, you don't want to make the players know that they have power.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
But
I know Reddit's in an outroar, but like, still stick to your guns if you're really just stuck to the lore. Stick to your guns.
But part of delivering a game is giving players some of what they want.
Yeah,
true.
Also, if we're going by lore, this isn't the world of 10 theoretically. It could be theory. The first is Xanarkand. Ronso have females, and
they do.
They have never said that they're not abundant.
Yeah. So they're there.
So,
I love how you snuck that in. That like, oh, this is Xanarkand. Like, wait, what? Huh?
I mean, Xanarkand, the world that Xanarkand is on, is a dream, and it's already kind of screwed up too.
See, that's where Tia comes in. He's sleeping in the Crystal Tower. We're all just part of Tia's dream.
No, let's not even talk about that. But I mean, it took them a while to give us the Femros and the male Makote. And what they said is there probably won't be any more races. That doesn't mean there won't be any more genders. I'm being the optimist now.
Yeah,
so
no, and that's the way to look at it.
6.0, they're like, here you go, just kidding.
And I mean, let's be perfectly honest here. There is no way that Yoshida walks away from this fan fest without multiple outlets asking why they decided to do this. They are very aware of the.
Oh, that's probably happening today.
Correct. They are very, very, very aware. Like, bold, italicized, underlined, big giant Comic Sans font. Very aware of the community's reaction to this, and so I don't know what he's gonna say. And yes, and I've had that same exact thought where if they say, okay, well, we didn't have the time to do it for launch, but this is something that we're working on, or this is something that we will add now. You don't want to give that thing where it's like, well, a lot of people complain, so I guess we'll just throw this in here. You don't want to give that impression off, but at the same time, like, Yoshida's smarter than this, and I hate to say it because he is a nice guy, but like, I've been calling this kind of reaction for months, and now it's here. It's here. And
they're also they said in the presentation that both Vera and Ronso are going to have more customizable details than any of the other previous.
Yeah, they're like trying to make it like it. It's like, but there's so much customization. Can I add a dick? Like,
Jesus.
Maybe that's not the right way to put it. It just came out. I apologize. Yeah. I'm not trying to be insensitive to anything, right?
So
but like,
bad.
But really, like,
wow.
It's stupid.
So Fusion gives Sly like a rundown before we start. Like, oh, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do that. Apparently, we can say, but can I add a dick?
Right. I'm trying to be sensitive, right? to all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of people that were really hoping on it for the other genders to come out. It's just,
the game's not
stupid.
dead. There's always a chance.
Yeah, there's always a chance it'll come. But for right now, that's my gut. Like, my first take, this is stupid. This shouldn't be a thing. The fact that Yoshida didn't try and, like, stem this hype off in Paris is stupid. He should have said right then and there at Paris, this is a female-only race. And just end. Done. Then you don't get people's hopes up. That's part of the problem, is everybody was like, oh, they'll announce it in Tokyo. He said that there's still Tokyo Fan Fest when asked about male Vera. So we'll still get them. It's just for some weird reason they're going to announce another gender of the same race in Tokyo. That's not what happened.
He was being the optimist. He was hoping that people would like it. And to be fair,
there are people that like it. There are people that like it.
And they're not complaining on the forums.
No.
But they're also not on the forums going, yay, thank you, either.
To be fair, I have seen a few people that are really excited for Hrothgar on the forums. There are those people excited that are posting.
Good.
It's just like super drowned out by all the other people that are talking about how they're going to unsubscribe and how they're really pissed that they already pre-ordered the expansion.
A bunch of those people are going to do the same thing they did with Aura. They're going to switch to Aura, be Aura for a month, be like, I miss my old character, and go back.
Yeah.
They just don't have the option to go to male Vera first before going back. So really, Yoshi just saved you $20.
He's just looking out for your. He's just looking out for your wallets, guys. That's all this is. Yeah.
That's the title of the episode. Yoshi P looking out for your wallet.
Save me $20, $20 discount on Shadowbringers right here.
Mm-hmm.
You say that it was actually on sale on Amazon, $20
I know.
off. I don't know if it still is or not, but that's funny. They did that so that if you wanted to try it out after the announcements, there's your savings right there. But if you want to switch back, that's on you. That's your cost. Oh man. So there we go. But they're super customizable, so it's okay.
Yeah. I feel for you guys. Well, not specifically you guys. I feel for you guys who are upset about male Vera.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm sorry that you're upset. Sly's like, nah, I don't care.
I mean, I understand. But seriously, like, we've been through these phases. People are mad, salty even, and give it a couple of weeks, it blows.
I'll be over it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, with jobs, same with teachers, same with housing. We haven't even considered that. We haven't even considered housing for Shadowbringers, where it's going to be, what it's going to entail. Like, all these bad things, all these things that you are lacking, the majority eventually get over, and you still continue to subscribe to the game and enjoy it.
And if you don't get over it and you stop playing the game, then you probably don't want to play the game anyway.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's another point too I want to mention. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this happened, I'm gonna unsub. You were probably close to unsubbing anyway if this is the tipping point for you, right? And to those people, I'm glad that you said you're unsubbing in the thread for that title, because then I just don't need to read it. But at the same time, like,
oof, we're being a little mean.
I'm just telling it like it is. I'm just telling it like it is, right? I'm not gonna like try and sugarcoat this. At the same time, was I gonna switch to Vera? No. Was I gonna switch to male Vera? No. But that doesn't mean that I haven't been around for a while and have seen the way that these games have developed, and this is a step backwards. That's it, full stop. This is a step backwards for them, and I don't understand why they did this.
Okay, and that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, it may sound harsh. I don't think it's overly harsh. I'm just telling it like I'm seeing it, guys.
Yeah, and again, will it get corrected? Maybe.
That's
something to look forward to. Like, the thing about this is the dev team always listens, and that works to their favor and against their favor sometimes. And I'm saying that it's probably gonna work against you if you buckle down so quick.
Yeah, like, because
of this outrage. But we have devs that actually listen to us, so you probably have little to worry about.
I'm not
worried.
I will guarantee within the week we will have a statement on this in some form. It may not be guaranteeing, male Vieira and female Hrothgar. It may be saying, okay, we're going to work on it later. I don't know what it's going to be, but they will comment on this within the next week.
They're going the way of WoW.
They have to. They have to. At this point, I mean, there's so much reaction to this. They have to say something.
They're like, oh no, they're there. You just have to unlock them.
One small thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get last FanFest? Did we get a announcement for the benchmark? Because that was missing too.
I don't remember.
I feel like somewhere they said that was a thing that was coming.
Right.
Typically in the normal kind of expansion cycle, after the last FanFest, you would have PAX East. They're not at PAX East this year. And then that's usually around that time is when they show off the benchmark. But we don't have that this year, so I would assume that will probably be coming maybe sometime within the next month. Maybe it will likely have, right? We have the big live letter coming up sometime in May. Before that, there will likely be a media tour where they'll meet with the press all over the place, show them all the job stuff, let them get hands on there. And like between that and the live letter, the benchmark will come out is probably what we're looking at. A lot of times, if we don't get a public benchmark preview, they'll give it at that media tour. They'll say, okay, check this trailer out. Oh, by the way, that's also the benchmark. That's usually how it goes. So we'll be seeing that in the next couple of months. So chat saying they are at PAX East. So they are at the booth. They have a Siryu challenge. They do not have a panel. Yoshida is not there. They're not doing anything outside of a battle challenge. So yes, they're there, but they're not like there.
They're not announcing new information mostly.
Right. They're not doing a public Q&A or anything. It's a battle challenge. Go get a shirt and a foam greatsword.
Oh,
So
I want a shirt. I already beat him.
I want a foam greatsword. I have the.
So here's my theory for their announcement. They're gonna come out and they're gonna be like, all right, guys, you can have male Vieira, or you can have non-special job blue mage. What do you want?
Yes. I mean, if I'm being honest,
I'm sorry, sir. You didn't specify. What?
Yeah,
what
that was an or.
Yes. No. It's yes. I would like yes. Yes. Great news, guys. Great news. 6.3 Geomancer. Oh, by the way, it's also a limited job. So,
Geomancer already.
Man, throwing that out already.
It's a solo heal job. Everybody wanted that, right?
Right.
And you can only unlock it after Eden because the elements and stuff.
It already exists though.
Wait.
On the source, but you have to unlock this one on the first, and you can only play it on the first because it's a limited job.
Again, Eden normal or savage?
Yes.
And we're lost.
And we're done.
Yeah.
And we're done.
We're done. We're done.
Oh, all right. So that's that. And again, there's a lot of emotions right now about some of this content. So hopefully, we weren't too harsh one way or the other. Again, we're just, day after, this is what we're feeling right now. So, maybe next week we'll be all happy about it. Be like, yay, this is great. Who knows? So,
I'm happy.
It hasn't even been 24 hours. So overall, I am super happy.
Content. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think for me, like let's go around. Like Xenedra, what was your top 3?
Dancer.
Done.
Just answer. That's it.
Yeah. Remember last time when I took my hat off and I threw it? Preview. Dancer.
Okay, Sly, what was your biggest thing that you liked from this?
If I had to get a top 3, trailer, of course, getting more insight.
Yeah.
New information about the areas. Dancer.
Okay. I think for me, like, were you done?
Oh no. I was just gonna say, like, for me, for dancer, I kind of need women for my burlesque show, so it kind of works out.
You know, I wonder if dancer will get to perform.
Have to.
Which would be weird because they like people like running Mog Station would be like, well, what are we supposed to sell if you give?
They dance. It's already in their code. You don't have to sell anything. It's there.
Just all the Mog Station dances. You don't have to pay for them, but if you buy the expansion and you unlock Dancer, you just get all of them. But you can only use them on Dancer.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Dancer is a limited job wherein you can only use dance emotes on Dancer. And if you're in a party with a bard that is also using performance.
That's gonna be cute.
I mean, yes. I still, I'm surprised. I still like walk around every so often. I see people performing, like just playing songs. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah. I think for me, my top one spot is a tie between the trailer, because that Eternal Wind arrangement was amazing. That was what made the trailer for me. That FF3 theme when they get to the Crystal Tower part, like that was awesome. It's a tie between that and seeing the Crystarium. Just for somebody that's been like doing like Square Enix MMO stuff for like almost 14 years now, like recognizing that and being like, holy crap, like that's the thing. Like that was awesome. And then Dancer for sure. Like I'm excited. I'm excited that I don't have to learn how to tank or heal now. I can just play that.
Let's be honest. You're gonna try Gunbreaker.
I mean, yes,
you have to.
But I know by default that I'm probably gonna suck at it.
What if you're good at it? Stranger things have happened.
I mean, this is true. That would be really weird, but we'll see. Though I
was kind of looking forward to another healer and trying out another. My other 70 is a white mage, so don't threaten me with it.
And again, it's just it's weird. I feel bad being so happy about it because healers are like, but where's our healer?
You said it was for us. That really was my reaction, though. Oh no.
yeah. I mean, that's exactly how my mind thinks too. As soon as I think about Dancer, I go, awesome. Oh, but there's no healer.
Oh, sorry.
It's our bad.
I'm trying to actually think of two other legitimate things from it that I was like, yeah, but Dancer was so overwhelming. Like I'm sitting in the chat with my friends, as I've said about 400 times this podcast. And I was like, guys, if this is a ranged DPS, I'm going to squeal. I won't hit the button, promise, but I'll squeal. And then I accidentally did hit the button, just too excited. So excited.
Suddenly the entire group is just bleeding from the ears. They can't hear anything else anymore.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, the one healer who's in the chat with me is like, congratulations.
I'm so fake happy for you.
No, they were very happy for me. Sad for themselves, but happy for me. My friends are good friends.
Yeah, I mean, and you know that's how I feel like about anything that I'm not crazy about. Like I'm not crazy about the Hrothgar, like just in general, gender stuff aside. Like it's not for me. Some people are super excited for it. Like, awesome. I'm glad you are. Go for it.
I mean, if you don't like Hrothgar, you never watched Thundercats. What's wrong with you?
I mean, I was more of like a Power Rangers guy. I didn't really get into.
Why not both?
But just
why not both?
I wasn't really.
Just saying.
All right.
Silence.
There's like, I don't want to say there's so little here, but I do feel like there's maybe 3 or 4 big topics, and it's like, am I supposed to just pick all of them and be like, I liked all of these things?
Well, look, like what don't we have? We don't have whatever the new Eureka is. We don't have another like actual confirmed primal or beast race.
Don't we? It's the near thing.
We only have Titania for primals. So
yeah.
other beast races, for primals, the other 2 beast races are unaccounted for.
And is dwarf, like, is that really a beast tribe? Really? Like,
some people are saying that they worship which
Well, here's my take on that. Right, is a beast tribe, right? Historically, on the source anyway, we're going to a whole different planet. But you know, there was a Lalafell in the Warriors of Darkness group. There was a dwarf in that group. Therefore, I would think that they are part of civilization. So why are they a beast tribe? Also, he didn't have a beard, but I think we can retcon that, and everyone's okay with that and understands why. But yeah,
Somebody will eventually.
Well, they did say. They did say they gave themselves like names and stuff to sort of fit in better. So they were like, dude, we know it's tradition, but you've got to shave that beard off. Come on.
None of these Lalafells have beards like that on the source. We're trying to go undercover. What are you doing? You're going to blow it for us. Yeah, so that's the
really,
thing.
Though, the dwarves, the existence of the dwarves makes the first a better place because then there's no Ulda.
There's just like mini Gridania. Like really mini, like it's like this tall. Like it's just a little.
Yeah, you're right.
The syndicate's in Limsa, being fat.
That'd be weird though, because that means then there's a syndicate fat cat version of Raban, and is he a gladiator?
No, or if he was, he's not anymore. No, they're doing sumo wrestling there.
Forget Blitzball. This is the new Gold Saucer attraction. It's not even in the Gold Saucer. You just go to Yulmore and you can just bet on which sumo cat is gonna win.
Make some MGP.
I'd watch that. Yeah. I'd watch that. Yeah.
But does it convert over Source Slayers?
Or maybe not even MGP. You just win grapes. They're like, oh, congratulations! You picked the correct sumo cat. Have a grape. We are so generous by giving you this grape. We let you in from the shanty door downstairs. Please come in. God. You won the bet. Enjoy your grape. Now get out.
Jeebs.
Gosh.
Gonna be a time.
Yeah. So I mean, there's still some stuff that we don't know.
But
some.
You know what? I kind of like that. Like, I don't want to say I don't like knowing a whole bunch of stuff going into something.
Sure.
But the more I'm surprised, the more I'm gonna enjoy the expansion itself.
Yeah, and you know, it's a lot of it too. They might even still be working on. They haven't. I mean, when they announced when they announced the Nier 24 man, they have this video of Yoko Taro, and he's like, "So we should probably like figure out what this is gonna be about, right?" Like they hadn't even started. So I mean, yeah, I mean they might know. I mean, and especially like when you consider, I mean, Hidatos came out not too far back, right? So they're definitely taking all that feedback into consideration now, but they're also working on the expansion. So whatever this next phase of Eureka is, if it even borrows elements from this stuff, they're probably not even going to start on that stuff till June or October, or you know, it's going to be a little ways out yet. So we do have a live letter tonight. We don't know. We still have might get a little bit of stuff from there.
Yeah, we still have the other Naoki's room, which features the special guests, which will probably end up being Yoko Taro, and hopefully we get information.
It's either Yoko Taro, Nomura, or Nomura's pile of self-aware belts. So. Saying there needs to be like a minion that's just like the bottom of Lulu's skirt from 10. It's just like all the belts, and it just kind of like follows you around. Like,
I don't want it. I don't like it.
That's fair.
I want a Blitzball to follow me around.
Maybe we'll get Blitzball. Maybe we'll get Blitzball. I mean, and that's one of those things, like, they talked about it.
Oh, yeah? Was that you, like...
Nice.
Praying to you, Yevon. Praying to you, Yevon.
Subtle. That was good.
Got it.
Yeah.
Your little mic is actually the...
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, because when was the last time we heard about Blitzball? Like, Frankfurt Fan Fest?
Long ass time ago.
And somebody tried to ask him about it at Paris, and they did that thing where they kind of like put a bunch of different topics into one question, so he only answered one. And so we're still just kind of like, so is that a yes or a no on the Blitzball? maybe Haps will ask about that for us.
The bottom of the tower that used to be Limsa is just filled with water, and that's where they do Blitzball.
There you go.
That's why they don't open the door to the slums.
That's how you get into Yulmore.
If that is the case, we better get Jack's theme.
Oh, absolutely.
The heavy metal one.
You bring that up. We didn't even talk about the song in the dancer video.
You're right.
Because that's via El Flamenco from FF9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the song in the trailer was also enhanced. He said it was rough, but they added very clear lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely lyrics in there. It part of it sounds like it's maybe trying to be like the Rocky training like montage like music a little bit. Like
one cast shadow, one cast the light. That's the only thing I made out at the beginning.
There's like this part when they get to I think it's when Thancred and Philly are kind of like running up the stairs in Yulmore, where I just hear like fighting something. All I can think about is like Rocky, like the music that plays during the training montages, and I'm like, dude, all right. But that for me, that trailer, that Eternal Wind arrangement that kicked in once they go into like Crystarium and they show the city and the Crystal Tower, I was just like, oh, like this is it. Like that's awesome. I love it. So
the other thing was when they were doing the Yulmore like pan through, the little startup of the music there sounded like FF8 at the ball, the seed ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to go back and listen.
It didn't really proceed into the.
It was
but it did sound like it at the start.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like they're showing this Yulmore off, and I was kind of like, I don't like it. Like just. I'm not a fan of this, but at the same time, like, it's not like they haven't had areas like that before in these games. So,
like I said, what is this trash heap?
Yeah, it's something different they haven't had yet. They've had similar things in the series before. So, by that rationale, okay, cool. I just like, I really don't want to run a bunch of errands for these guys. That's my thing. I really just. I'm gonna be stuck here for like 4 levels, aren't I? Like
4.
I'm telling you, the way that we win this expansion is we don't do anything. Huh?
I'm trying to remember how long were we stuck with the Moogles. Was it around 4 levels?
Forever. Yeah. I'm still doing those damn daily quests. You don't get as much rep for doing Moogle quests as you do all the other Heavensward these tribes. I'm still doing Moogles.
Why?
I want to get them all done.
I hit that series of levels without a tank buddy, just me and my DPS buddy. So our queues for dungeons were super long. So I finished like all of the Moogle quests, every single one in that area. But when the dailies came up, I was already ready to go. I didn't have to do any of the extra crap that you had to do.
Yeah. One of these days I'll finish those Moogle quests, but it won't be today because I only get 5 rep per quest. Sad. I don't understand why. But anyway. So there is still more information to come out of FanFest. There will be a live letter later tonight. And
hopefully it will be more informative.
I'll be curious to see what's in it.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what we get out of it.
Well, here's the thing. What is there left to talk about within, 4.0?
What did they tell us? Yesterday they specifically
the 15 collab.
Yeah,
but we kind of I feel like, I mean, other than there's like a Kenny Crow minion that was on the picture frame in 15 for the 14 collab. Like they never actually showed that off, I don't think, when they showed the video, but we know that it's coming, so I don't think they'll spend any time on that. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, there's not a lot. I feel like this is going to be a short live letter.
Yeah. They specifically told us something this morning that they were going to talk about in the live letter, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was.
I don't know. The umbrella mount.
Yeah. Or they might be able to, they might talk about world visit. That might be a thing.
That is coming up. Yeah. I mean, But at the same time, like, they spent so much time. Like, every time they talk about it, they always spend so much time talking about it. So I think we're good on that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I was appreciative that they kept the whole, we're going to talk about things we've already talked about pretty short. Because the previous time wasn't very at all.
It really didn't feel short to me.
Well, and you know,
maybe it was my dancer high. I was still
right. And you know what? One of the issues, right? After the dancer reveal, everyone's like, but healer, right? So they started late, but then it felt like they finished early, even though they still started late. And so everyone's like, oh, there's something else coming. Like, this will be great. And then it felt like Matt and Koji were stalling on the English stream. And then it's like just done. And you're like, oh.
And they weren't stalling. They were filling up the time.
Okay. Yeah, it was weird. Like watching it live, like it was a little weird just in terms of like what people expected, what we got, and yeah, right. We ended this show actually 20 minutes ago, but Sly is so entertained right now.
Your face is like,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have more next week. We'll have Mr. Happy.
I want to hear more about Eden.
Talking about all that stuff.
Still talking about the life letter today. I really want to hear more about Eden.
Please.
Yeah. like if you're gonna have a lot of FF8 elements, let me know now. Or tell me
they did
no,
say that was like
now,
extremely zoomed in. So we haven't seen the whole picture yet.
Well, I mean, they wanted to make sure that they could show off the detail of the stick in the ground.
Yeah, the twig. Oof.
That twig has just as many polygons as a character model.
Or a flower pot in 1.0.
Hey, you got the reference. Good for you. Thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to know about that. It'd be nice to see. And again, though, like if there was going to be anything new, like new primals and stuff, they would have announced it during the keynote. So I think but they didn't.
They messed up.
You're so like taken aback by this.
They messed up. Like, I don't want that to be a surprise. Like, we went in knowing Lakshmi, we went in knowing Susano. We only know Titanium, which is fine.
Well, and you know, looking back at
Is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Looking back at Stormblood, right? Like we never saw Omega before launch, and like E3, like. Well, we saw Omega, but we didn't know what like the actual content was going to be. Just that it was Omega,
right?
And so, like, I mean, you know, I remember asking like Yoshida, like E3, like the day before early access starts, I was like, "So, like, are you guys planning on like showing us anything from this?" And he's like, "No, I don't think so. I guess not."
So I guess not knowing anything about the 8-man is part of the course.
And in comparison, the thing with Omega is like, you know what Omega is, you know what it entails, sort of, kind of, based on FF history, that you can kind of draw a conclusion. Eden is so wide open.
Yeah.
Eden is like previously kind of a weird floaty jellyfish with a castle on its head, maybe thing.
You just described Eden. Let's go. I'm ready to raid.
Right? See, that's what my mind jumps to, right? You show that image of the stick, and my mind thinks like FF8. Eden is a GF in FF8. This is an FF8 raid. Count me in.
Garden of Eden.
And you know, I'm so like into like Final Fantasy stuff that like my brain didn't even go to Garden of Eden. It was just like Eden was a summon.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even think about Garden of Eden until we started talking about it today, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's also a thing. That it is a thing. Huh.
I mean, hopefully they combine those things, because I would like to see, much like Fusion, I would like to see more FF8 things.
Yeah, I mean, well, we get Gunbreaker, we get the revolver, glamour weapon
Ultimecia,
with the collector's edition.
Please.
Please.
Ultimecia, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I would not say no to that.
I want some time with a K compression.
Well, you know, it's when they showed that still of Eden, my first before they showed like the title card, right? They just showed that artwork, and I was like, time compression?
What is this?
It would fit with everything else. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this? And then they're like Eden. I'm like, And then I'm like, how can I still make this about FF8? The GF.
Yeah. But my not necessarily disappointment, but since we don't know how the crap we're getting to the first, I was sort of thinking it would be like a lot of people time travel, which that's some time compression stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just jumping dimensions, though, that kind of goes out the window. Not so much.
Yeah.
Theoretically, but who knows? We don't know anything.
Maybe we are time traveling because we talked a little bit about how Arbert was like, yeah, and like all the color is gone. And while yes, that could be true from what we've seen, right? It could also be maybe we not only do we hop over there, but we hop over there a few years in the past and try to prevent it because they talk about.
Why?
Well,
if we can time travel, why don't we do it on our sliver?
Not time traveling. I don't know. It's it's all speculation at this point. Like no idea what's gonna happen. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of a better idea on Tuesday.
This right here is why I'm kind of okay with not knowing stuff because it's really fun to theorize also.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I spent the greater part of my morning going back and being like, okay, so Nero looked kind of crystallized-ish at one point in the Crystal Tower cutscenes, and then like this trailer has like the guy in the Crystal Tower. He's got a crystal hand. Like, is this Nero? Like, what's going on? These are two things that can be totally like
smooshed.
Yeah, like let's figure this out. And so there's so much room. There's so much room to speculate here. It's crazy. But I think unless anybody else has any more closing arguments here or anything else that they want to bring up, I think we covered everything and then some.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to do it for us. Before we give our outro here, Sly, would you like to let everybody know where they can find you?
Hi, I'm Sly. Nice to meet you. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox, Instagram, Sly, aka Gray Fox 07, Twitter at Sly the Fox, youtube.com/The Velvet Room. I play a lot of games. That's just it. I play a lot of games. Plus Final Fantasy 14.
This guy has the most professional.
You play 14? I had no idea. I just brought you in here for all the SMT expertise.
I know. Jesus. I mean, yeah, you'd think like, wait, are you new to 14? No.
It's funny because I have you set up on auto host on both Gamerscape and my personal Twitch, and I don't think I've ever seen you actually play 14.
14, I know. Because there's so much stuff I want to play, and it's like Jesus, like Super Robot Wars T came out, Sekiro came out yesterday. I feel like I'm gonna get a break.
I feel, dude, my copy of God of War from Christmas hasn't even been like taken out of the shrink wrap yet. That's how bad, like, yeah.
Jeez.
And I'm only like 2 hours in there Red Dead 2. Like it's bad.
Oh,
bad.
Sly does the thing that none of the rest of us can accomplish. He actually plays all the games he gets.
The backlog is real. I mean, I have played other games in that time. Don't get me wrong.
The way I do that is I have to schedule it. Like I actually literally have to schedule it a month in advance to make sure that I actually play these games and finish them.
Zing.
Do other stuff.
Zing.
That's crazy.
I'm like, okay, I play 14, maybe one other game. Yeah. And then I don't.
Yeah. All right. If you want to get into contact with us, you can email us, aetheryteradio@gamerscape.com. You can tweet at us at aetheryteradio. You can also reach us as Gamerscape on Twitter, Facebook, and on Discord, discord.gg/Gamerscape. We do have an Aetheryte Radio channel on there now. If you guys want to give us direct feedback about the show, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us that we're being way too harsh about Hrothgar, which is fine. That's deserved. We've earned that. We worked hard for that one, or I did at least. So there we go. Next week we'll be here with Mr. Happy talking about the day 2 for Fan Fest. We'll be talking about the live letter that's happening later tonight. We'll be talking about his interview with Naoki Yoshida, his time at the Eurasian Cafe, all that good stuff. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of Fan Fest, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Take care.